Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. During the session, we'll be unpacking the apprenticeship assessment for the Level 2 Health and Social Care Foundation Apprenticeship. You'll be able to see on your screen now a little poll question. So we've got a few of these coming up, 3 in total during the session. So there's 1 now and 2 at the end. As I introduce the session, please scan the QR code or input the URL in your browser to answer the question you've got. So our question now is, on a scale of 1 to 5, how confident are you in your current knowledge of foundation apprenticeships? So yeah, if you just scan or put the URL in, it should come up on your phone and you'll be able to give us an answer. So while you answer that, I'll just introduce the rest of the session and then we can take a look at some of the results. So this webinar is going to last approximately 30 minutes and there'll be a period of around 15 minutes for you to ask questions at the end. So the session will last for around 45 minutes in total. If you have a question at any stage, please submit it using the Q&A function at the top of your screen. We'll make a note of it and I'll pose it to our panelists during the Q&A. Please can we ask you to turn off any AI note takers you may have running, as the session is being recorded and will be distributed to everyone later this week for a repeat viewing. It would be made available on the Hive as well, and Hive is our central hub for all things apprenticeship reforms and apprenticeship assessment. That can be found on our website. It's very visible there. So just looking at the results that we've had through, and we can see that around half of the respondents have rated it a 2. We've got a few 3s and a very small handful of 4s. So it does seem like this session is going to be quite a valuable one. So that's really fantastic to hear. And we will be returning to this kind of a question at the end of the session, just to understand how valuable the session has been to help boost those scores. So, to introduce myself, I'm Paul Bullock, and I'm the Marketing and Communications Manager here at Training Qualifications UK. I'm hosting today, and I'm joined by 2 of my colleagues, Emma Archbold, who's our Head of Endpoint Assessment, and Mike Warner, who is the Delivery and Product Manager. Now, as I'm sure you know, Skills England has launched a new kind of apprenticeship, the Foundation Apprenticeship, to help individuals on the pathway to a full apprenticeship once they leave school or college. We're proud to say that we're launching the TQUK Level 2 Health and Social Care Foundation Apprenticeship. And without further ado, I'll hand over to Emma to go into detail about it.
Thank you, Paul. Welcome, everyone, to today's webinar. I hope you're all surviving in the sudden chill that we've had recently. As Paul has said, today's session, really, we do plan to work through a little bit of what Foundation Apprenticeships is, the background and development of the Foundation Apprenticeship, and how that's been designed and developed to support the industry needs, as well as introducing TQUK's approach. So as you can see on the slide, there is some aims and objectives of this session. And most importantly, in terms of the aim, it is to produce an overview and give you an overview of the Health and Social Care Apprenticeship, including its purpose, the structure and our assessment approach, and to explain how TQUK will be supporting centres in delivering confidently and effectively. And by the end of this session, you will be able to gain clarity on the purpose and the context of the Foundation Apprenticeships, including how they fit within the wider apprenticeship reform and VFE principles. Hopefully you'll become a little bit more familiar with the structure and the design of the Health and Social Care Foundation Apprenticeship if you're not already so, including the assessment outcomes, delivery models and assessment methods. Our intention is that you'll know a little bit more about our resources and what TQUK have on offer to help you prepare for the delivery, registration and assessment and implementation going forward. Let's start with a quick recap of the apprenticeship reform and its objectives. The current changes are all about simplifying and strengthening the system, creating a clearer, more consistent pathway for apprentices and employers. The reform aims to ensure that every apprentice on programme, regardless of level, provides real value, supporting people to build the skills, confidence and experience they need to progress into their chosen careers. So one key part of this process is the introduction of the Foundation Apprenticeships, a new entry-level route that bridges the gap between education and work, helping apprentices take the all-important step into a profession. And whilst it's not part of the reform of apprenticeship standards itself, the Foundation Level has been introduced alongside DFE's principles in order to reduce duplication, assessment burden, and ensure assessment is completed in a timely and effective manner. So on the slides, you can see there are 3 main goals: to create a modern and improved apprenticeship system, to make apprenticeships more accessible, flexible and better aligned to evolving needs of young people, and to tackle workforce shortages and to boost your youth employment. But there are three considerations of the foundation apprenticeship as well. It's an entry route. It's designed to prepare people for full apprenticeships or employment by delivering essential skills, knowledge and behaviours in a structured, national recognised way. They're shorter and they're more flexible. The focus is on core operation rather than job-specific expertise, supporting apprentices who are new to the sector or not yet ready for a full Level 2 or Level 3 apprenticeship. And they're a stepping stone to build competence and sector awareness before moving to a full occupational standard. So, why have foundation apprenticeships been introduced? They align with the government's ambition to create a coherent apprenticeship system that supports people at every stage of their career journey. The introduction of the foundation apprenticeship came directly from the sector employer feedback, where many employers have reported that some individuals were starting apprenticeships without the foundational skills they need to succeed. And the government listened to that and have set out to create a solution that would widen access to apprenticeships, making them more inclusive and attainable, create clearer progression routes for higher level apprenticeships and employment, and to bring consistency by replacing patchwork apprenticeship frameworks and traineeship style programs that have existed before. So ultimately, the foundation apprenticeships align with the government's ambition to create a coherent, flexible system that supports people at every stage of their career journey. You're now looking at a slide that you'll see the Health and Social Care Foundation apprenticeships funding. There's a £3,000 funding band, then there is also a requirement to meet 187 hours of off-the-job learning. The apprentices undertaking the apprenticeship, or would normally be 16 to 21 as they start that apprenticeship. There can be exceptions. These are outlined in the Department of Education's funding rules if you need to have a look at those for anybody that sits outside that 16 to 21 bracket. Apprentices will work with a range of healthcare settings, so that may well be a care home, hospital, general practice, or as part of a community where they're working in a team with professionals and a wider team that includes home workers or both health and social care settings such as domiciliary. The apprenticeship is therefore designed to be flexible in order to meet different industry requirements. And upon successful completion, the apprentice will be competent in the knowledge, skills and behaviours outlined within the standard. The typical progression routes are likely to be employment or progression into another pathway, such as a Level 2 or Level 3 apprenticeship. So as we move on to the next slide, this gives you a little bit more detail of how that looks in practice. So on this side, you can see we're showing how assessment outcomes look across each other. So in the foundation apprenticeship, you can see there are three outcomes. There is knowledge, there is technical skills, and there is employability skills and behaviours. And although they are presented in different lists, they are not standalone. They are intentionally interlinked. So the employability skills and behaviours, as known as the EB outcomes, are behaviours that employers constantly tell us matter most in our careers. So things like communicating clearly, working professionally, adapting to change, and following safe work practices. But importantly, these behaviours do not sit separately from the knowledge and technical skills. Each behaviour draws directly on the underpinning knowledge and the technical skill outcomes from the assessment plan. And this is why we've highlighted at the bottom of the screen the assessment outcomes. These is where the behavioural evidence, employers are going to be validating it. And within this, the behavioural evidence will be able to be supported for those technical outcomes. So that means it's really clear for both people delivering the apprenticeship, but also for the employers and for the learners, that they can see where the behaviours are being linked to both the technical outcomes and indeed the EB. That means they're not assessed in isolation, but it is a demonstration of knowledge and technical skills in action. And it helps employers know exactly what they're validating, and it helps apprentices understand that what they learn in practice and how it builds directly into behaviours will be expected of them in the workplace. And one final point is about the knowledge, employability skills and behaviours, and how technical skills, that many of them include an asterisk. You can see that on the little screen. There are some numbers there with asterisks on, and this identifies opportunities to embed English and maths naturally as it may occur during the learning on the apprenticeship and in workplace practice. So here we are in terms of what the assessment plan structure looks like. So on this slide, we talk about the apprenticeship assessment plan and the information prescribed within it, and what it can and will inform us on the delivery methods, which will be suitable for each apprenticeship method. So as you can see on the screen, we've got a knowledge test and practical assessment. With this in mind, centres will need to adapt their delivery models to accommodate the assessment approaches. This includes ensuring that apprentices will be prepared for assessments and that teaching materials are up to date with the new guidelines. And we expect to see two key delivery models in apprenticeship assessments: an AO assessed, which is assessed by the assessment organisation, or centre assessed, assessed by a centre, but externally quality assured by the centre assessment organisation. At TQUK, we will design assessment methods and delivery approaches that are robust and aligned to the assessment plan while ensuring cost-effective delivery models that reduce assessment burdens for centres. This may be flexible to us to develop and create both an AO-assessed and centre-led approaches. With this being possible, you could see options for a pick and mix approach for apprenticeship assessment. So if we just delve into the slide a little bit, you can see there are two assessment components for health and social care, as I mentioned previously. A knowledge test and a practical assessment. And for the foundation apprenticeship, this means the practical assessment could be delivered by TQUK as an apprenticeship organisation or via a centre-led approach in the future. Hopefully, that's given you a little bit of an overview of what this means. What it also means is these things can be assessed at any time in learning, and we will go on a little bit about that later. So in terms of the next slide then, we're looking at apprenticeship structures. So also within the assessment plan, you will see some performance descriptors. And within this section, you're going to see how these are displayed. So on the screen, you can see that an extract of the standard and what that looks like in terms of the assessment plan and how that might be looked at in practice. So within the assessment plan, there is always a section for the performance descriptors, and the performance descriptors displayed on the slide indicate the level of performance required to achieve a pass for the Health and Social Care Foundation apprenticeship. The performance descriptor is used as a base and then tailored to each individual standard as part of the apprenticeship design, and they are aligned to the Ofqual and Skills England generic descriptors. It is important to note they are not grading descriptors, but are performance descriptors of what's expected to be demonstrated. Assessment organisations will take these performance descriptors, particularly the ones from the assessment plans that have been tailored to the standard, and will write the grading descriptor required for each assessment method used to ensure the grading descriptor is supporting reliability and validity of our assessment approach. So now I've talked through the basics of why foundation apprenticeships have been introduced and the concept of the design. I'm going to pass to my colleague Mike, who will be able to tell us a little bit about our offer and how these things can be assessed ongoing.
Lovely. Thank you, Emma, and thank you, Paul, for the warm introduction, and welcome everyone to our webinar. I just want to talk a little bit about what we've been doing behind the scenes to get this ready for you. So we've been working at TQUK to develop a streamlined and accessible assessment strategy that reflects sector needs and provides real value for apprentices and providers. So our program includes two assessment components, a multiple choice question test, which we expect will be taken quite early in the apprenticeship. It's covering both knowledge and technical skills across each assessment outcome. The test can last 45 minutes and includes 25 questions, and it will be available online and on demand, giving apprentices flexibility and confidence. The second assessment that we've designed is a scenario-based practical observation with questioning. It's designed to be delivered remotely for efficiency and accessibility for all apprentices. And the way it will work is that apprentices will select from a bank of realistic workplace scenarios and demonstrate their skills across 3 10-minute scenarios, followed by 10 minutes of questioning with an assessor. This approach offers a balanced, fair and efficient assessment experience that reflects the realities of working in health and social care while still maintaining the national consistency and rigour. Our initial assessment design is an assessment organisation assessed option, but we will be developing a centre assessed option in due course. Providers will be asked to confirm that each apprentice has completed the required amount of learning before undertaking assessments, and we're aiming to do that completely seamlessly through EPA Pro, along with confirmation that the employability skills and behaviours have been verified. Apprentices can undertake the assessments at any point in their learning, and providers can request the MCQ following our normal exam booking process. At registration, we will be asking providers to supply a range of dates they expect the apprentice will be ready to complete their scenario-based practical observation with questioning. So we designed the Health and Social Care Foundation Apprenticeship Assessment model this way because we wanted to create an approach that's simple, fair and genuinely supportive of new entrants to the sector. Employers told us they needed an assessment that builds confidence early, which is why the MCQ is delivered near the start, giving apprentices a clear sense of progress while reinforcing the core knowledge and skills needed for safe practice. And at the same time, we recognise that many foundation apprentices may have limited access to workplace activities or may well be in settings where traditional observations aren't feasible. The scenario-based observation with questioning was therefore created to remove barriers, reduce provider burden, and ensure that every apprentice can be assessed consistently, regardless of their placement or support network. and is designed to assess applied competence where real workplace opportunities might be limited. By using realistic scenarios instead of live workplace observations, we can focus on what really matters at this stage, whether the apprentice understands the principles of safe and effective care and can apply them confidently. The design provides a balanced, accessible, and high quality assessment experience that prepares apprentices for progression, mirrors real demands of health and social care, and maintains that national rigour required by Skills England.
Okay, look, we know that the introduction of the new apprenticeship brings new processes, and we're committed to supporting you every step of the way. We've introduced an interactive learning course, and this course covers everything you will need your apprentices to know. This will be accessed at any time during the learning programme and journey, and you can use it within your own online platforms to embed that preparation as and when you need to. The detail will also cover assessment planning approaches, providing clear step-by-step guidance on each assessment method. And we'll also be introducing a mock MCQ that will self-mark, helping apprentices to prepare with confidence. Alongside that, there'll be a detailed apprentice pack with everything that you need to succeed, from key dates to assessment to guidance. And for providers, we'll continue launching our process training video, our pre-recorded webinar with answers and questions to most common customer queries, and an employer information pack to help organisations better understand how the foundation apprenticeship fits in their workplace and the development plans. Our goal is to make the transition smooth, simple and supported. So as we draw to a close of this piece, and before I go on to address the next steps, I want to acknowledge that we have shared quite a bit of information about the design and the development of the process within the foundation apprenticeship, and I hope that it has helped you understand a little bit more if you had questions previously. But before I move on, we're just going to pull up that short poll, as you can now see on the screen, and if you could just answer using the QR code as you did previously. 5 is being very confident and 1 with being not so confident. So how are you in terms of being confident in understanding the foundation apprenticeship?
That's good. That's moved up a bit. Fantastic.
Fantastic. Excellent. So it's nice to see that we've had some improvements. Thank you. Okay, please carry on with your voting as I just draw us to a close in some of the last and final pieces. So we are excited to let you know that we'll be open for registrations on Monday, the 24th of November, and our existing customers, we will be able to support you through our business development team and customer service teams and hand you through that process hand by hand and every step of the way as usual. We'll also have things available on the website, and that will include access for our fees and what the charge of the assessment will be, along with any FAQs and other guidance we've already described today. In addition, you'll find lots of different information about apprenticeships and the apprenticeship reform on our website, so please feel free to go and have a look. And for all of our new customers, as part of your onboarding, our teams will get you set up on our system, provide you in-depth training, and ensure all of your questions are promptly answered. So whether you're just joining or you've been working with us for years, you can count on us. It's going to be a safe pair of hands, and we're going to help you navigate the reforms as they come, and indeed foundation apprenticeships as the new entry route to this part of the world. Okay, so if we could just pass over now to Paul.
Lovely. Thanks, Emma, and thank you, Mike. We'll be moving on to our Q&A session very shortly, so please do use the button at the top of your screen to submit questions. We'll gather them together and we'll pose them to Emma and Mike once we get to that section. Before we get there, though, here's the third and final poll, and I can see somebody's already very excited getting in there with a full 5 stars. I like it. So following this webinar, how interested are you in offering a foundation apprenticeship on a scale of 1 to 5? Again, just scan the QR code, pop the URL into your browser to answer, and then select the score. So yeah, it's a good start so far. So while you're answering, this is a good opportunity to remind you of the broader apprenticeship assessment reforms and the work we're doing to keep our customers up to speed with them. So we're one of only a dozen assessment organisations selected to be part of the Skills England Apprenticeship Reform Advisory Group. And we work closely with them to test new thinking, capture sector intelligence, and help inform successful implementation. We're also involved in closed meetings as part of the Federation of Awarding Bodies, helping us anticipate future changes and breaking information. We're monitoring the Skills England website every day for newly published plans, as well as offering suggestions to them about how they can better keep the wider sector updated. When a new plan is published, we'll update the Hive and let you know via email and social media within 24 hours of that information being published. That's very much the core message here. Whether it's foundation apprenticeships, all the reforms, or anything else really, as Emma said, we are your safe pair of hands and will help you through every stage of these reforms. So thank you for your answers to the final poll. I can see that we've done very well there. So yeah, five stars is the dominant score up there. So that's fantastic to see that that there is interest in these foundation apprenticeships. So I'll just take a look at the Q&A. Just let me bring that up on my screen. So see that we've had a few questions through. So Emma and Mike, we've got one. What is the role of centre-led assessment under the new assessment plan?
Okay, I'll let Mike take that one off.
Thanks, Emma. So initially, we're launching the Health and Social Care Foundation apprenticeships with an assessment organisation assessment in place, but we will notify customers as soon as we approach the launch of the centre assessed option for the scenario-based practical assessment with questioning. As TQUK navigate the reforms and where permitted, centre-led assessments will be used for some components of the different apprenticeship assessments. In order to do that, centres would need to declare their intention to deliver centre-led assessments during the approval process and ensure their assessors meet the required competence standards. However, centres can choose between the AO or centre-led assessment for individual apprentices and on a case-by-case basis, which is that bit Emma mentioned earlier about that pick and mix approach to the assessments.
Lovely. Thank you, Mike. So yeah, so keep the questions coming through. All you've got to do is hit the Q&A button. So it's a great opportunity to pick the brains of two experts that we've got here. So the next one is, how will TQUK support centres through the approval and implementation of the new assessment plans?
Okay, so TQK are going to provide an awful lot of support materials and resources, including dedicated FAQs, training workshops, webinars, and ongoing guidance on our regulatory changes and assessment designs. Centres will also have access to the materials on the Hive for our central hub, for reform updates, and will be able to participate in standardisation activities to maintain consistency of assessment delivery. And when we do get to our centre-led model, there will be a very short approval process of which centres will be able to submit, if they're not already a member of our wider customer route, a short approval process for their staff to be able to do that. And if you're already a customer, it will be very just a short point letting us know what you're going to be delivering, so we can move through that approval process, and we will support all of those staff that are doing centre-led when we come to that point through training, standardisation, and all the various mechanisms that you will need to make sure that you can deliver at the same level.
Lovely. Thank you, Emma. So Thomas Corbett has added a question. So thank you for that, Thomas. He asks, do you think this will replace the adult care level 2 full apprenticeship in the future?
Okay, the plan is not to replace the adult care apprenticeship. It is to inform as an entry route. The adult care apprenticeship level 2 will still be remaining in place, even under the new reform. Although it may well look and feel different, it will still be in place as the next progression route.
Lovely. Thanks, Emma. And thank you, Thomas, for the question. We hope you found the answer very useful. So, like I say, keep the questions coming through and we'll ask Emma and Mike. So another question, the scenario-based practical observation with questioning mentions 3 scenarios for apprentices, but who decides on the scenarios?
So what we've done is designed a wide variety of scenarios. At the minute, we've got 3 from each of the assessment outcomes, and they cover a really broad range of practical tasks. They're identified in the apprentice pack, so they're not a secret, they're not hidden from anything. And what we're hoping is that apprentices, with the support of their providers, will choose 1 from each group. The reason you need to choose 1 from each group is that it ensures that there is full coverage of the knowledge and technical skills. But they select 1 from each group that best meets their role and their working environment.
Lovely. Thanks, Mike. So keep the questions coming in. We've got one here. How quickly do apprentices receive grades after each assessment component?
So obviously we recognise that apprentices and providers want access to results of each component really quickly. And we're pleased to say we would provide a grade within 3 working days of completion of that complete assessment. And that's to go through the internal qualification requirements, or in terms of quality assurance, we need to uphold that. So within 3 days, you would have those results on the system.
Lovely. Thanks, Emma. So Sharon Barker has submitted a question. She's asked, will we register through our current account managers?
Yes, you can carry on registration as normal through your current account managers. Nothing changes.
Yeah, so it's absolutely the same there. Thank you for that, Sharon. Maria Wheeler has asked, once completed and a learner goes on to undertake the level 2 HSC, can the foundation qualification be used as RPL, prior learning, therefore mapped over?
There will be elements in the funding rules regarding RPL. The companion document and things are available to support with some of that. And yes, in some instances, there may be areas of RPL that could cover over. It'll depend on the level of those versus the updated apprenticeship once that comes out for adult care.
Fantastic. Thank you, Emma. And Thomas Corbett has lodged another question, so please do keep them coming. You are more than welcome to add multiple questions. So he said the next progression for the foundation in care level 2 will be the adult care level 2, not the lead adult care worker level 3. And he says that he often finds there is a reluctance to progress onto the same level.
I think in terms of the new landscape, there's probably opportunities to move into both level 2 or 3. Again, obviously, we are waiting lots and lots of additional guidance in terms of some of those things. But absolutely, if they've had the required hours of practice, they're in the right job role, they meet those expectations for level 3, then you may find that the foundation apprenticeship is enough to get them to that stage to then move forward. And that would be on a case by case basis, obviously, based on your apprentice and their needs.
Fantastic. Thank you, Emma. And we got a heart there, so I'm hoping that did answer the question quite well. So keep them coming in. We've got one more to do, but if you do have another question, just pop it in. So what does the knowledge test cover?
So the multiple choice knowledge test covers knowledge and technical skills from each of the assessment outcome. As always, we've identified them in the apprentice pack, and it's a classic MCQ. So each question has 4 possible answers and 1 mark is awarded per question for identifying the correct answer.
Lovely. Thanks, Mike. So we've got one final question from Sally Sillins. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. How long are learners signed up for on the foundation apprenticeship?
Okay. So foundation apprenticeships comes out with the minimum duration as announced this year. So you'll have the 8-month delivery for that.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Emma. So yeah, thanks, Emma. Thanks, Mike. And thanks to everyone who submitted a question and has joined us for today's session. To briefly wrap things up, our account management and customer service team are always here at TQUK for customers to provide expert insight, advice, and support on anything related to foundation apprenticeships and reforms in general. So if you are a customer and you've come away with some questions that we haven't been able to get to today, do feel free to reach out to your account manager and we can get you the answers you need. So the next webinar that we're doing is lined up for next Friday, which is the 28th of November. This one is exclusive for customers and will unpack the new assessment plan for the Early Years Educator Standard. So this has been a hugely popular webinar, so popular in fact that we've had to double up on sessions and run 2 of them. So please do use the QR code on your screen to sign up before all the remaining spaces are filled. So that's on November the 28th. But I think for today, that's it from myself, Emma and Mike. And I'll also say a big shout out to Thomas Robertson, our man in the chair in the background, managing the slides and the questions. So thanks to Thomas as well. And thanks to everyone who has attended. So thank you very much. And the recording will be available early next week.